Welcome to the Explainer. So, we're going to break down a forecast that is, frankly, pretty startling. It predicts that the year 2026 is going to bring a level of record shattering heat to India that we've never seen before. But to really understand what's coming, we have to start by looking back. Way back. We need to go back to the year 1877. This was a terrifying and honestly an almost forgotten moment in history when a single, silent catastrophe was unfolding across the entire planet all at the same time. Think about this. On completely different continents, millions of people were starving to death. Here in India, the Madras presidency famine was absolutely devastating. At the same time in China, a horrific famine took hold. In Brazil, they called it the Grande Seca, the Great Drought. Millions and millions of lives lost, all at once. Now, the root cause wasn't a war. It wasn't some new plague. It was actually a powerful natural weather event that was born thousands of kilometers away in the Pacific Ocean. It was a phenomenon that Peruvian fishermen had a name for. They called it El Niño. And here's the kicker. Experts are warning that it's coming back, and this time it's supercharged. So what in the world is El Niño? And how can a change in one ocean completely mess up weather for the entire planet? Let's decode it. Okay, at its core, El Niño is a climate pattern. To put it simply, a huge stretch of the Pacific Ocean right near the equator, an area that's normally pretty cool, suddenly heats up. And when an ocean-sized body of water warms up like that, it releases an unbelievable amount of energy, enough to completely scramble weather patterns across the whole globe. See, under normal conditions, you have these strong winds called trade winds, and they push the warm surface water of the Pacific west, over towards Asia and Australia. This lets cold water from deep in the ocean rise up near South America. But during an El Niño, those trade winds just give up. They weaken, sometimes they even reverse, and all that warm water slushes back towards the Americas, which completely shuts down that cold water flow and totally changes where rain falls around the world. And this, of course, creates a massive chain reaction. Australia gets hammered with droughts and bushfires. The Americas can see crazy flooding. And for us, here in India and Southeast Asia, it almost always means weaker monsoons, severe drought, and really, really dangerous heat waves. So a regular El Niño is already bad news, right? But the event being predicted for 2026, it's not a standard one. Some are calling it a perfect storm, a kind of triple threat that could push all of us into totally uncharted territory. Europe's top weather forecasting center has put out a really stark warning. Their models are predicting what could be the most powerful El Niño in 140 years. And here's the part that should really get your attention. There's a 61% chance it forms right in the middle of India's absolutely critical monsoon season. The first part of this perfect storm is our starting point. Because of climate change, our planet's baseline temperature is already about 1.4 degrees Celsius warmer than it was before the Industrial Revolution. We're already starting hot. Now, on top of that existing heat, this super El Niño is forecast to slap on another 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming to the global average. So you add those two numbers together, and you get a potential temperature spike of nearly 3 degrees Celsius. Let me be really clear about this. Modern human civilization has simply never, ever experienced that kind of heat before. The best way to think about it is this. Climate change has already turned the thermostat way, way up in the room. Now, the 2026 Super El Niño is about to walk in and switch on an industrial-sized space heater right in the middle of it. So what does all this mean for India specifically? Well, this isn't just about a hot summer. It's a forecast for a crisis with 4 separate but compounding layers of impact. First up, a failed monsoon. Second, because over half of India's agriculture depends on rain, that means widespread crop failure. Third, record-shattering, life-threatening heat waves. And fourth, all of this comes together to deliver a direct hit to the economy through crippling food price inflation. You see how each layer just makes the next one so much worse? But the impact here goes way beyond just agriculture and economics. The most immediate and lethal threat is the heat itself. And it's a danger that, right now, we aren't even properly counting. The really hidden danger isn't just how hot it gets during the day. Just look at Delhi in 2024. Yeah, daytime temps were up. But look at the nighttime temperatures, over 4 degrees Celsius above normal. That is incredibly dangerous. It means our bodies literally never get a chance to cool down and recover. A big driver of this is something called the urban heat island effect. Our cities, just filled with concrete and asphalt, they soak up heat all day long, and then they just radiate it back out all night. This gets even worse when you factor in deforestation and, kind of ironically, all our air conditioners, they cool our homes, sure, but they do it by pumping hot exhaust air outside, making the city even hotter for everybody else. Now, if you look at the official numbers for heat wave deaths, you see a massive problem. Different government agencies report wildly different numbers, but detailed academic studies suggest the true number is tragically, astronomically higher. We could be talking about 150,000 deaths every single year. And one major reason for this massive undercounting is a small policy detail. Here in India, heat waves are not officially classified as a notified disaster. This means the government isn't legally required to pay compensation for heat-related deaths, which you can imagine creates a big disincentive to count them accurately. Okay, this forecast is alarming. There is absolutely no question about that. But, and this is a big but, the situation is not hopeless. The same science that's warning us about the problem is also pointing us towards some very clear and effective solutions. So, after hearing all this about urban heat islands and these crazy rising temperatures, what is the single most effective, low-cost thing we can actually do to fight back? Well, the answer is surprisingly simple: trees. A huge meta-analysis of over 1,100 scientific studies confirmed it. A healthy tree canopy can cool the temperature at street level by a staggering 12 degrees Celsius. I mean, that can literally be the difference between a dangerous day and a manageable one. So, look, here's the bottom line. We can't stop El Niño from coming, but what we can do is build resilience, and it really does start at the community level. We can protect the big, mature trees we already have. We can support the most vulnerable people, our outdoor workers, with water and shelter, and we can do our part to reduce our own carbon footprint. The climate of our childhood, it's gone forever. Adapting to our new reality has to begin right now.